You know, usually when we sit down to do one of these deep dives, we're looking at something pretty tangible. We're unpacking a historical event, or maybe we're looking at a specific scientific breakthrough, or even dissecting a business case study. But today feels a little different.
It does. Today we're looking at a story,
Mm-hmm.
but I think calling it just a story is doing it a massive disservice.
Right. We're looking at a narrative that, on the surface, looks like one thing, a quirky steampunk fantasy adventure. But underneath, it's this incredibly dense philosophical examination of trauma, nihilism, and the value of suffering.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. We are talking about the 2001 role-playing game Arcanum of Steamworks and Magic Obscura.
It is a mouthful of a title, isn't it?
It really is.
But as we dug into the source material, the script analysis, the character breakdowns, the lore, it became pretty clear that Arcanum earns every single syllable of that name.
Absolutely. And for the listeners who haven't played it, or maybe played it 20 years ago and have, like, fuzzy memories, we really need to set the scene. Because the setting itself is the first layer of the deception.
That's a great way to put it. The game presents itself with this very specific aesthetic hook.
Right.
You're on a Zeppelin, the IFS Zephyr. It's maiden voyage. You're sipping wine, maybe playing bridge with the high society of Tarrant. It is the height of the Industrial Revolution. We're talking steam engines, Tesla coils, flintlock pistols, fancy suits. But the world is inhabited by elves, dwarves, orcs, and ogres.
It's basically if J.R.R. Tolkien wrote a novel during the Victorian industrial boom.
Exactly. It's a world in conflict. Magic and technology don't just, disagree. They are physically incompatible. They actively break each other.
Yeah, they cancel each other out.
And right off the bat, the game just throws this conflict right in your face.
Yeah.
The crash. Half-ogre bandits in these primitive monoplanes attack the Zeppelin, which is such a striking image, these, classic fantasy creatures using crude technology to bring down a symbol of progress.
And it goes down in flames. You crawl out of the wreckage, soot everywhere, bodies everywhere.
And this is where that classic fantasy setup kicks in. You find a dying gnome, Preston Radcliffe. He shoves the silver ring into your hand, mutters something about the boy, and he is coming to destroy everything, and then he dies.
Classic inciting incident.
Textbook.
Yeah.
And then immediately a man walks up to you.
Virgil,
the Panari monk. He looks at you, and remember, you're just some random passenger who survived a crash, and he says, with total unwavering conviction, it is you, the living one.
And this is the hook. This is what the game wants you to believe is the story. Virgil tells you that you are the reincarnation of the elven god Nasrudin.
Right.
You are destined to fight the returned demon lord Arronax, who has been trapped in the void for 2,000 years. It is the chosen one trope played completely, 100% straight. It's safe. It's familiar. You go, okay, I get it. I'm the hero. That guy's the villain. I need to go get the magic sword and save the world.
But the entire mission of this deep dive today is to expose that for what it is. A lie.
A complete fabrication.
Yeah.
Everything the game tells you for the first, 40 hours, it's all smoke and mirrors.
It is. And that's why we're focusing on the psychology of the characters today. Because if you strip away the fireballs and the steam engines, Arcanum isn't a story about gods and monsters. It's a story about broken people.
So broken.
The god you're supposed to be. He's just a tired old elf. The demon lord.
Yeah.
He's a prisoner who regrets his life choices.
And the real villain.
The real villain isn't trying to conquer the world. He's trying to euthanize it.
It's such heavy stuff. So let's start with the person who introduces you to this lie. Let's talk about Virgil. Because looking at the notes here, his arc it's a roller coaster.
Virgil is fascinating because he is designed to be the player's anchor. He's the tutorial guide. He heals you. He explains the lore. And for the first half of the game, he is essentially your hype man.
Oh, relentlessly.
He is obsessed with this idea that you are the living one.
Oh, it's constant. If you talk to him, it's, yes, living one, as the prophecy says, living one. He quotes the Panari scriptures at you constantly. I remember playing this, and honestly, he can be a little annoying. He feels like a fanatic.
He is a fanatic. But that fanaticism is a shield. It's a mask.
Right, and the sources point out that the cracks in that mask appear almost immediately, if you're paying attention.
Oh, absolutely. There's that pivotal encounter right at the crash site.
Right away.
You're barely out of the burning Zeppelin. Virgil has just declared you the Messiah, and then this hooded figure shows up. An assassin from the Malachian hand.
Now, normally, your pious monk companion would be shocked. Maybe he'd try to pray or, reason with the guy.
Exactly. But Virgil, he changes instantly. His whole demeanor shifts. The assassin starts speaking in this coded, cryptic language, and Virgil just snaps. He barks back, cut the cryptic language. He gets aggressive. He postures. He knows exactly who these people are and how to talk to them.
That is not the reaction of a sheltered monk from a monastery. That is the reaction of a guy who has been in a bar fight or two.
Or a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And this is where the game invites you to dig. Virgil tries very, very hard to keep you from asking about his past.
Right.
He deflects. He says it doesn't matter. We must focus on the prophecy, living one.
Yeah, that's all in the past.
But if you push, or if you follow the clues, you find out the truth. He has a brother, Lawrence.
Lawrence Brummond. So Virgil isn't just Virgil the monk, he's Virgil Brummond.
And Virgil Brummond was not a holy man. Far from it. The sources indicate he was a gambler, a thief. He ran with a very rough crowd in the city of Caledon.
So he wasn't studying scriptures?
No, he was counting cards and running from debt collectors. This man was a mess.
And this completely changes how you view him. He's not following you because he's pious, he's running away from something.
He had debts. Serious debts to the local criminal underground, the Thieves Guild, you name it. And when he couldn't pay, well, they didn't just rough him up. They went after his family.
They killed Lawrence.
They killed his brother because of Virgil's mistakes.
Wow.
Exactly. So now look at Virgil standing in front of you at the crash site. He is a man consumed by guilt. He is crushed by the weight of what he did. He joins the Panari religion not because he had some divine revelation, but because he needed a place to hide. He needed a costume.
So when he sees you survive that crash, when he sees something that looks like a miracle,
he grabs onto it with both hands. He needs you to be the living one. It is an act of pure desperation.
this is out.
Because if you are the living one, then he isn't just a low-life gambler who got his brother killed.
Yeah.
He's the guardian of the Messiah. He can be redeemed. He projects all of that need, all of that hope for his own salvation onto you.
It's actually really tragic. He's using the prophecy as a coping mechanism. He's trying to rewrite his own story by forcing you into this God role.
But the brilliance of Arcanum's writing is that it doesn't let him stay in that delusion. The world, the actual reality of the situation, keeps chipping away at it.
Yeah, there's a breaking point. Or really, a few of them. If you play an evil character, Virgil just kind of breaks down and becomes this pathetic yes man to your villainy, which is sad in its own way.
It's awful.
But the canon arc, the one most players experience, happens when you visit Chenang, the city of the Dark Elves.
Right. By this point in the story, you've learned some hard truths. You've likely discovered that Nasrudin is actually still alive. He's just an old hermit living in the mountains, so you can't be his reincarnation.
Prophecy is completely falling apart.
The whole thing's bunk. Virgil's entire worldview is crumbling around him.
And he leaves. You come out of the city, and he
Yeah.
just goes. He says he has business to attend to.
He goes back to face the music. He realizes he can't hide behind the living one anymore. He can't use you as a shield. He has to go to Caledon. He has to go to the Sobbing Onion.
Which, by the way, incredible name for a dive bar. The Sobbing Onion.
It paints a picture, doesn't it? It just smells of stale beer and tears. And that is where you find him. But you don't find him holding court. You don't find him winning a fight.
You find a body.
You find Virgil beaten to death in the basement.
This was such a shock when I first played it. Your main companion, the guy who has been with you since the first 5 minutes,
Yeah.
just dead.
I
On
know.
the floor.
He tried to confront the thugs who killed his brother. He tried to settle the score alone, and he lost. It is a brutal reality check. Being the guardian of the living one didn't give him superpowers. He was just a man.
A man who made a fatal mistake.
But this is Arcanum, and you have the power to change things. You have a scroll of resurrection, or maybe you know the spell.
And this is where the mechanics meet the narrative so beautifully. In most games, resurrection is just a cleric tax. You pay the gold, you click the button, they get up, and you keep fighting. It has no weight.
Right, it's just a menu option. But here, bringing Virgil back is a massive plot beat. It changes him fundamentally.
Players refer to this version of him as Zen Virgil.
Zen Virgil. When he stands up, he is different. The game actually changes his character portrait. He looks calmer, maybe a bit older in the eyes. His voice lines change completely. That frantic, anxious energy, "Oh, living one, what should we do?" It's gone.
He stops calling you the living one.
He does. He calls you by your name, or just treats you as a partner, a friend, because he knows the truth now. He knows the prophecy was false. He knows he died. But here's the beautiful part. He stays with you.
That's my favorite part of his arc. He's not staying because he thinks you're a god anymore.
No.
He's staying because you're his friend. You came down into that basement and brought him back from the dead.
It shifts the entire relationship from, like, religious servitude to genuine friendship. And there is a critical piece of dialogue here that sets up the entire end of the game. When he wakes up, he talks about the other side.
The afterlife.
Yes. He confirms he saw his brother Lawrence. And he admits it was peaceful. He says the afterlife was a meadow of gray. It was quiet. It was better than this life.
But he came back.
He came back. He says something to the effect of, it was beautiful, but I'm not done here yet. He chooses the struggle. He chooses the pain of living, the noise, the conflict, because he values the connection he has with you.
That is foreshadowing with a capital F.
It is the thematic counter-argument to the entire philosophy of the final antagonist. Virgil is the living proof, literally the living proof, that life, even with all its trauma and mistakes, is worth choosing over the void.
That is such a satisfying character arc. You take the most generic RPG trope, the healer sidekick, and you turn him into the emotional core of the game's philosophy.
It really is masterclass writing. And it perfectly mirrors the deconstruction of the villain, Arronax.
Yes. Let's talk about Arronax. Because if Virgil is the good guy who turns out to be a criminal, Arronax is the ultimate evil who turns out to be. Well, let's get into it.
Arronax, the destroyer, the dark elf who burned the world.
For 90% of the game, this guy is the boogeyman. Every lore book you read, every NPC you talk to, they are terrified of him. The story goes that he's the son of Nasrudin, he destroyed the techno-city of Vendigroth in a fit of rage, and he was banished to the void for his crimes.
And now, the Dark Elves are trying to free him. The Malachian Hand is killing people to keep his return secret. You have visions of him taunting you in your dreams. The game is just screaming at you, get ready for the final boss battle with Sauron.
You expect a 10-foot-tall guy in spiked armor with a flaming sword. You expect a maniacal laugh.
A whole monologue about power.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you finally get the means to travel to the void. You step through the gate to confront the ultimate evil.
And let's describe the void for a second, because the atmosphere shifts so heavily here.
Oh, yeah.
It's surreal. It's a place of exile, outside of time and space. Floating rocks, swirling purple mists, strange alien geometry. It's quiet, it's lonely. And in the center of it, you find a shell.
A magical prison. And inside isn't some roaring monster, it's just an elf.
It is Arronax.
Mm-hmm.
And he is completely helpless. He's trapped in a magical stasis field, guarded by a giant snake. He's in commanding armies. He's in plotting. He's just stuck.
And when you talk to him, he's polite.
He is unbelievably polite. He's articulate. He's soft-spoken. He's shocked to see you, a living person, in his prison. And as you talk to him, the entire Dark Lord narrative just completely falls apart.
You find out he hasn't been sending the assassins?
Nope.
He hasn't been commanding the Dark Elves?
He has no idea any of that is happening. He's been in solitary confinement for 2,000 years. The Arronax that has been appearing in visions. The one giving orders. That was a false flag.
It was identity theft on a cosmic scale.
Yeah, it was. It was the real villain, Kerghan, impersonating Arronax. Kerghan used Arronax's reputation as a monster to manipulate the elves on the outside. He needed them to build a bridge to the void, and he knew they wouldn't do it for him, so he pretended to be their dark messiah.
So Arronax is a patsy, but we have to be fair here. The guy isn't innocent. The legends about him destroying Vendigroth are true, right?
They are. And this is where the character becomes three-dimensional. Arronax doesn't deny it. He owns it. He admits it. He explains that, yes, 2,000 years ago, he was a different person.
He was young.
He was young, he was arrogant, and he was a bigot. He hated technology. He saw the city of Vendigroth building this massive machine, the Vendigroth device, which was capable of killing a god, and he panicked.
It was a preemptive strike. He destroyed them before they could destroy him and his kind.
It was an act of fear and rage. He was a hot-headed kid who happened to have the power of a demigod. But, and this is the absolute key, he has had 2,000 years to think about it.
2,000 years in a silent room, that changes a person.
It broke him down and rebuilt him. He regrets what he did. He admits his father was right to banish him. He admits his hatred of humans was wrong. He has, as the writers put it, mellowed.
I love this concept. The Dark Lord isn't evil anymore. He's just older. He grew up.
It's the deconstruction of the immortal villain. Usually, immortality makes villains worse, more detached, more cruel. Here, immortality gave Arronax perspective. It gave him time for infinite introspection. He realizes that his anger was pointless.
And the best twist is that if you free him, which the game lets you do, he doesn't try to backstab you. He joins the party.
He joins you. The devil joins the heroes. And his motivation is pure responsibility. He realizes that the real threat, Kerghan, is actually his fault. Arronax was the one who banished Kerghan to the void in the first place long before his own banishment. He created this monster. Now he wants to help you stop it.
It creates this incredible dynamic in the final act. You're walking into the final battle, and the guy everyone told you was the ultimate evil is standing right next to you, basically saying, I'm so sorry about this mess, let me help clean it up.
It completely disarms the player's expectations. And it clears the stage for the true antagonist, a villain who makes Arronax look like a schoolyard bully.
Kerghan, the first necromancer.
This is where we get into the deep philosophical waters, because Kerghan isn't just a bad guy. He is a man with a terrifyingly rational worldview.
Let's give the listeners his background. Who is this guy?
Kerghan was a human from the Age of Legends. He was unique because he was the only human to ever sit on the ancient Elven Council. He was a genius, a magical prodigy.
And he was obsessed with death.
Well, he was obsessed with knowledge. That's a really important distinction. The sources emphasize that he didn't start studying necromancy because he wanted to raise an undead army or be spooky. He did it because he was a scientist at heart.
Okay.
He felt the Elven Council was stagnant. They were content. They were passive. He wanted to push the boundaries of what was possible.
He wanted to know what happens after we die.
Precisely. He learned to speak with the dead. He learned to pull souls back. And the elves, naturally, were horrified. They saw it as a violation of nature. Arronax, in his younger, more hot-headed days, led the charge to banish him.
So Kerghan gets thrown into the void, and he's been there even longer than Arronax. We're talking eons.
And in the void, time is meaningless. Kerghan didn't just sit in a shell like Arronax. He spent that eternity exploring. He went deeper into the lands of the dead than any living being had ever gone.
And this is the reveal that shakes the whole game. He tells you what he found.
He describes the afterlife. He calls it a sea of gray mirrored glass. He says it is a place of absolute stillness, no pain, no hunger, no fear, just peace, enlightenment, truth.
He found out that death is actually paradise.
To him, yes. And this forms the basis of his entire nihilistic motivation. He looks at the world of the living Arcanum, and what does he see?
He sees war. He sees the Industrial Revolution choking the sky with smog. He sees racism between elves and orcs. He sees poverty, disease, suffering.
He sees noise. He sees pain. And he compares it to the peaceful gray sea he found in death.
And he draws a logical conclusion from that comparison.
He concludes that life is a mistake, a flaw in the universe. He believes that by existing, we are suffering. And worse, from his necromantic experiments, he knows that when souls are resurrected, when they are pulled back into life, they scream. They are torn from that peace and shoved back into a painful, limited existence.
So to him, life is the punishment. Death is the reward.
Exactly. So he decides that the most moral thing he can do, the ultimate act of compassion, is to kill everything.
It's not murder to him, it's euthanasia. He wants to save everyone from the burden of being alive.
He calls himself the Harrying Wind. He wants to sweep across Arcanum and send every soul to the peace of the void. He genuinely, 100% believes he is the hero of this story.
It's terrifying because it's not fueled by hate. He doesn't hate you. He pities you. He looks at you like a doctor looks at a patient in chronic pain and says, I can make it stop.
Well-intentioned extremist is the trope, but he takes it to the absolute limit. And the game does something very brave here. It suggests he might be right.
Wait, how?
About the nature of the afterlife. Remember Zen Virgil?
Right, we just talked about this. Virgil died, he saw the other side.
And if you have Virgil in your party when you finally confront Kerghan, Virgil speaks up. He confirms it. He says, he's right. It was peaceful. It was beautiful.
That makes the confrontation so much harder. You can't just yell, you're a monster, you're lying, because your best friend is standing there nodding along with the villain.
It forces the player to engage with the argument on a philosophical level. You can't just reject the premise, you have to reject the conclusion.
And this leads to the most famous aspect of Arcanum, the final boss fight. Or, if you're smart enough, the lack of one.
You can talk him to death.
Yeah, early.
You can debate philosophy with the final boss of the game. And it's not just a skill check. You don't just click the persuasion button and win. You have to navigate a really complex dialogue tree that requires you to actually understand his logic and dismantle it piece by piece.
So how do you do it? How do you convince a guy who has proof that death is paradise, that he shouldn't kill everyone?
You don't argue about the destination. You argue about the journey. You argue for choice.
The choice to suffer? That seems like a hard sell.
It is, but it's more the choice to experience. You can say to him, perhaps some souls are born into death, They never knew how to live. You argue that by ending life, he is robbing souls of the opportunity to find meaning, to feel joy, to learn, even if that experience comes packaged with pain.
It's the existentialist answer to nihilism. Meaning isn't inherent, we make it. And we can't make it if we're dead.
Exactly. You tell him that the struggle is the point, that the friction of life is what gives it value, what makes the good moments good.
And the craziest part is, he listens.
He does. Kerghan is a scientist, remember. He deals in logic. He's not a creature of pure emotion. And if you present a fundamental flaw in his logic, if you show him that his mercy is actually tyranny because it removes consent, he has what the sources call a heel realization.
He realizes he's been arrogant.
He realizes that he has no right to make that choice for everyone else. He says, I have been presumptuous. It's this moment of shattering clarity for him.
And then
He surrenders. He voluntarily steps into the Vendigroth device, the God-killing machine that Arronax was so afraid of, and he asks you to turn it on. He wants to be unmade. He wants to go back to the peace of the void, but he agrees to leave Arcanum alone.
that is wild. Imagine if in Star Wars, Luke just sat down with the Emperor and explained that authoritarianism is bad for the economy, and the Emperor went, you know what, good point, and jumped down a reactor shaft.
It's a profound ending. It respects the intelligence of the villain and the intelligence of the player, and it circles perfectly back to Virgil.
Right, because Virgil made the same choice Kerghan refused to let others make.
Virgil saw the peace of the void, but he chose to come back to help you. He chose friendship. Kerghan saw the peace and tried to force it on the world. One chose connection. The other chose isolation.
It really highlights the central theme. Connection creates meaning. Which actually brings us to the other characters you meet in the Void. Because you aren't just facing Kerghan with Virgil and Arronax, you can recruit a whole squad of monsters.
The evil companions. This is a detail that often gets overlooked, but it's so crucial for the theme. The Void is a prison for the worst of the worst from history.
You've got the Bane of Kree.
The Bane of Kree, a barbarian warlord from the Age of Legends. The lore says he burned cities, slaughtered thousands, watered the fields with blood. He is a blood knight. He is arguably a worse person than Arronax ever was, just in terms of pure body count.
And then there's Krakatoa.
The mighty Krakatoa. He's a man who used magic to turn himself into this terrifying dragon monster. He guards the bridge to Kerghan's fortress.
But he's kind of a joke.
He is a total large ham. He screams threats, he postures, but the moment you challenge him, he completely folds. The sources describe him as a dirty coward. He provides this bizarre comic relief in the darkest place in the universe.
And Gorgoth.
A literal demon who just wants to eat. He's simple, he's hungry. That's his whole deal.
So why does the game let you recruit a barbarian warlord, a coward dragon, and a hungry demon to save the world?
Contrast. Think about the villains you've met in the civilized world of Arcanum.
The gnomes. We touched on them briefly in the intro.
The gnomes of the Industrial Council. They run the city of Tarrant. They wear three-piece suits. They talk about market stability and progress. But beneath all that, they're running the half-ogre conspiracy.
Which is?
It is a systemic eugenics program. They are breeding half-ogre slaves to serve as bodyguards and cheap laborers. It is horrific, institutionalized oppression.
But it's polite. It's hidden behind bureaucracy and spreadsheets.
Exactly. And Kerghan. He talks about salvation and peace while planning a universal genocide. The modern villains hide behind ideologies. They wear these masks of virtue.
But the Bane of Kree.
He just wants to hit things with his flaming sword. He doesn't lie about it. He says, I am warrior. I kill people. That's who he is.
He's honest.
He is honest. Krakatoa is honest about his cowardice once you press him. Gorgoth is honest about his hunger. There is something refreshing about these ancient monsters. They know what they are. In a game where everyone, Virgil, Arronax, the gnomes, Kerghan, is wearing a mask, the monsters are the only ones showing their true faces.
That is such a cool observation. It's like the game is saying, I'd rather deal with the honest barbarian than the polite eugenicist.
Precisely. And in the end, to defeat the high-minded intellectual nihilism of Kerghan, you need that raw, honest strength. You need the will to fight, even if it's just for the sake of fighting. You need that primal refusal to die that the Bane of Kree represents.
So let's zoom out and look at the whole picture, the deep dive takeaway.
The game starts by telling you you're a god, the reincarnation of Nasruddin.
And it ends by revealing you're just a person dealing with a lot of baggage, surrounded by other broken people trying to figure it out.
It starts as a steampunk Tolkien ripoff and ends as a philosophical treatise on the value of suffering.
That's the bumper sticker right
It
there.
really deconstructs the entire fantasy genre. Think about the lineup. The good guy, Virgil. He was a criminal who had to die to find peace.
The bad guy, Arronax.
Just a scared kid who grew up in prison and learned to say sorry.
And the ultimate evil, Kerghan.
A tired philosopher who just wanted to give everyone a nap.
It really forces you to ask that final provocative question. If Kerghan was right, if the afterlife really is scientifically proven in the game world to be eternal bliss,
Is he actually wrong?
that's the one that keeps you up at night, isn't it?
From a purely utilitarian perspective, if life is net negative suffering and death is net positive bliss, he is the ultimate humanitarian. He is the most moral character in the game.
But the game argues, and I think we argue, that the choice matters more than the outcome, that taking away that choice is the real evil.
Or perhaps that the struggle of life is just a stubborn refusal to accept peace. Maybe humanity and all life in Arcanum is just too stubborn to die, and that stubbornness is what makes them heroes.
I think I'm with Zen Virgil on this one. I've seen the gray meadow in my head, but I think I'll take the noise and the mess of the real world for a little while longer.
As long as you keep your steam engine running.
Exactly. Until next time, keep your steam engines running and your wards up.